All right. What is up, everybody? Another Thursday Night Football live stream. We had kind of a good game last week. The NFL blessed us with just the best game.
We had a great game, and I went 3 for 3, so I'm feeling it.
Well, I believe we had the Cowboys covering. Or did you not have the Cowboys? You just had the over.
Yeah, I just had the over.
Okay, got it. Well, Dan had a great game. It ended up being an awesome game. It wasn't supposed to be a great game. But hey, maybe Patriots-Steelers is going to be a shootout. Maybe we'll get 34 points scored instead of a 30 over under.
We'll see. I don't have high hopes.
yeah, for sure. But as always, joined by Dan Koob. Dan, do you want to talk to the people about some unrefined? I was trying to think of a good punny way to tee that up, but nothing really came to mind. So you want to talk to people about what's going on in unemployment world?
Sure. Unemployment world this week. I just get very jittery. I'm not somebody who can sit still. So if I'm not lifting, I have to be creating something. So I started a new bourbon review program for somebody who is completely unqualified to give bourbon reviews. So I love bourbon. I've always been a huge fan. I lived in Louisville, Kentucky. In 2015, I moved there, knew nothing about the spirit, and then grew to really love it and the nostalgia behind it and all the stories of the families who work very hard to create it. So I am very much a novice in terms of picking out notes and how you're supposed to pick out the flavors and the finish and all that stuff. So I figured, why not create a bourbon review show from somebody who doesn't know a ton about that stuff. So that's up on my YouTube channel, Koob_Tube, KoobTube, with an underscore in between Koob and Tube. So go check it out and leave some comments. And Matt, you're more than welcome to come on and do one remotely, even though you suggested privately that we should do a chocolate milk review.
Well, I'm not saying, I'm saying I could do a chocolate milk review. There's different brands of chocolate milk, and they are, I mean, such different tastes. I actually prepared with a chocolate milk in my Super Mario sippy cup that my fiance got for me because I'm a child. So it's my favorite brand of chocolate milk. It's Fairlife.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was your favorite brand of sippy cup.
Well, I also have a Pokemon one that I also do quite enjoy. Sure. So I don't know if I can, but if I could do a quick one sip review of the Fairlife chocolate milk real quick.
Oh goodness, that was excessive. That was not something that people needed.
That was not a sound that I expected to come out when I gurgled.
That the gurgling sound wasn't what you expected.
Well, some gurgles are better than others. Anyways,
to God's ears.
Yeah, very creamy taste. It's my favorite chocolate milk. It's very smooth. It's on the pricier side because it's also on the healthier side. Now it's chocolate milk, so I'm not sitting here giving health advice. I'm just saying it's on the healthier side.
Now, Big Milk will tell you that it's great for you after a workout.
They will tell you that. I don't actually know if that's true or not.
They'll also tell you that milk is more hydrating than water, which is a complete joke.
Yeah, that sounds like people giving, like when they give out and they have cigarette commercials and be like, no, it actually makes you athletic.
Yeah,
kind of. But Fairlife chocolate milk, I highly recommend. Appreciate Journey of a Service Dog. If you like dog content, check out this YouTube channel. I like the comment only Jedi's mixed slam cam. I think that if I ever do live streams when I'm sweating out bets, maybe this is what we're going to have to call it.
I love it.
It's a great name. A great name.
I love service dogs and I love dogs too. So shout out to Journey of a Service Dog.
Yeah, it's actually a buddy of mine. Yeah, he trains service dogs for
I figured that was
yeah, trains golden retrievers for people, like for kids on the spectrum, as like a anxiety. I can't think of the word, like a mental health dog. There's like a term for it. But anyways, that's what he does. Cool stuff.
A seeing eye dog,
except they're not blind.
A feeling eye dog. This is dangerous territory. Let's move on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyways, if you like dog content, I would check that out. So yeah. Thursday Night Football tonight, Patriots versus Steelers. Patriots +6 if you're in on them, -115 at FanDuel. Steelers -5.5, -106 at Sport Trade if you're in on the Steelers, and over under 30, which is the lowest I saw a stat, I forget the exact time frame of when it was the lowest. It's very low total of 30. I'm just going to be straight up. I do not have a single wager that I have placed on any main line, total, spread, money line, whatever. If I had to give out my prediction, I would guess the Patriots cover the 6.5, and I would actually take the under 30.5 that you can get on some books. But I don't know if you have any thoughts here, anything that you like for the main lines.
Where are you seeing 6.5?
Oh, sorry. +6, under 30.5. That's what I meant.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. FanDuel's got +6 at -115, looks like right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not betting this game either because you don't have to bet. And this is an tailor-made evening where you shouldn't be betting, considering the Patriots are playing another backup quarterback. The Steelers are also playing a backup quarterback. The Patriots have only allowed 10 points the last like 3 weeks in each game, and they're 0-3.
And they're
So that tells
0-3.
you they can't score. The total is unbelievably low, and it's a 6-point spread. So what's that implied score? Like it's like
18 to 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no thanks on that one. If I had to give a one out, I would agree with you. I'd say, just given how low the total is and how wide the spread is, I would also go with the Pats covering 6. I saw it at 5.5, so 6 is even better. I just have no interest whatsoever. Now, if you were to ARB this, there was an ARB opportunity at last look. The total was over 30, plus 110 at profit. It was a 3% edge around 2:45 this afternoon. And there was an ARB opportunity. That was the under, excuse me. So the under 30. You could have ARB'd it with the over 30 at -105 at DraftKings. So not the biggest ARB in the world. However, an ARB nonetheless, almost 1%. Free money is free money. Yeah. No, thanks. Not really that interested. We'll see what happens with Najee Harris. Have you seen anything about his availability tonight? I have not.
I have not either. And that's something that I wanted to bring up in the player prop section, because if Najee's out, I haven't taken anything. I have one player prop that I actually have. If Najee is ruled out, I'm probably going to ladder up Jaylen Warren rushing. Yeah. Because I mean, I think he's better than Najee. I think it makes sense. Kind of like the Tony Pollard Zeke thing. Najee just takes a beating like Zeke did, and then Tony Pollard was the actual better running back who was more explosive. It's kind of the same thing with Jaylen Warren. He's awesome. He's super electric. I mean, it's not going to be a fun game, so I don't necessarily know if the stealing potential is there, but I definitely think that they're going to try and establish the run with Mitch Trubisky. We'll see if there's any luck to it. But yeah, regardless,
even more so than that. I mean, who are they playing? They're playing the New England Patriots, and what does Bill Belichick do? He makes you beat them in the most uncomfortable way possible.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah, they're 2-8 or 2-9 or whatever the record is, but their defense has been awesome. So they're going to put the ball into the hands of Mitch Trubisky. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they had 8 and 9 man fronts in this game.
Just didn't let them run.
Just because they know Mitch Trubisky is on the other side. So that actually leads to a player prop that I like later that we can discuss too.
Yeah, I mean, we can move on from the main lines. Neither of us are actually betting this. I think we're kind of aligned. Well, I don't know. Did you like, if you had to give out a prediction, would you say the under as well?
Yeah, I mean, it was at 31. Now it's at 30. I mean, it's just so unbelievably low. But again, Thursday, short week, tons of injuries on both sides. It's not like last week, right? The Seahawks and Cowboys both had a week off.
Yeah.
Both these teams do not have a week off. This means absolutely nothing, but 7 times this year, the Pats have played a game, or excuse me, 8 times this year, the Pats have played in a game that ended within 6 points. So that's a trend. Doesn't mean anything. The only thing it tells you is they play a lot of low-scoring games because they suck. But yeah, I think that's basically it. If I had to say something, I'd give you the under and the Pats +6 because I can absolutely see this being like a 13-10 game.
Yeah, I totally agree. Again, I don't have anything on it. If I had to give out a prediction, because it's not fun to go on a live stream and then say, "Yep, I don't have anything. Talk to you later." So if I had to do something, but yeah,
I just described ESPN's entire content strategy, which is the opposite of that. It's like, let's just make shit up and start yelling at each other.
I mean, it's worked for them. Maybe we should reconsider our what we're doing here.
True. That's true.
Yeah, player props. I did not introduce you as the sack master, so I don't know. Are we going to have a sack prop tonight? What's going on in sack land?
Yeah. We do have a sack prop this evening, but it's not actually, I shouldn't say this evening. We have a sack prop for the weekend.
Okay.
So once we get to player props outside of this game, I will happily, the sack master's checking in, num.
Love it. All right. So you said you did have one for tonight though.
Yeah. So for this evening, there are 2 I actually like. One of them is just Ezekiel Elliott over 57.5 rush yards at -113. No Ramondre Stevenson. Bailey Zappi can't throw. Pittsburgh's not exactly. I think there's a misconception about the run defense, and I think it's because they have Highsmith and they have Watt. Amazing guys at rushing the passer. Very average at stopping the run, and including up the middle of that defense. Now they do get Minka Fitzpatrick back. But I still think the only real conceivable way that New England moves the ball is they're gonna have to run it. So I can see Zeke kind of pounding out 6.5 yards at a clip and finally getting to this number over the course of 14 or 15 carries. So I like that. That's at -113. And then my other one is correlated to what I perceive to be the defensive game plan for New England, which is to put this game in the hands of Mitch Trubisky, which leads me to George Pickens. So he has a large plus money prop here for his receptions, over 3.5 receptions, +144. Now, anyone who has George Pickens in fantasy, I don't, but there you go. It's been a real struggle this season, but he's actually gotten to 4 catches 2 of his last 3 games. Again, as a trend, doesn't mean anything, but Steelers are going to have to move the football somehow in this game. Now, as good as the Patriots defense has been, they don't have Christian Gonzalez. They've got a ton of injuries in the secondary. So typically a team that loves to shadow isn't going to shadow, and they would probably end up shadowing Deontay Johnson anyway. So give me George Pickens. I like this over 3.5 at +144. I think this is the only viable path to the Steelers winning tonight.
So I am in agreement with you on a receiving prop for the Steelers. I went with Deontay Johnson as opposed to George Pickens. So I went over 4.5 receptions, +130 at BetMGM and DK. I'm not sure what it is now. It might have gone down. I'm not in love with it. The logic here was last year, Mitch Trubisky. So right now it's +125 at BetSafe. I'm not sure where that's legal. +122 at ESPN Bet, just so people can tell. With Trubisky starting 7 games last year, Deontay Johnson averaged over 6 receptions per game. In multiple games, had 8. Obviously there was I guess George Pickens was there, but he was a rookie. He wasn't getting a ton of playing time. So maybe he goes back to hyper targeting Deontay Johnson like he did at the beginning of last year. It's been a weird year for Deontay Johnson, just like it is with George Pickens. Like, I feel like the tweet where the receiver is like, the enemy kindly holds a knife or something, like directly applies. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. It's electric. I forget the exact wording of it, but that just to me describes the Steelers receiving core between George Pickens and Deontay Johnson. Like the whole fumble not blocking thing was weird. Like when Johnson, super weird. When Johnson first came back from injury, he was lighting up the stat sheet with targets. Past couple of weeks has not been the case. So this is more so a play on Trubisky, and it's a trust play. And I posted this, and someone was like, I think the Patriots that's a bad bet. Patriots are gonna shut down Mitch Trubisky. It's like, that could happen. And Deontay Johnson could still get to 5 receptions, or Pickens could still get to 4. So I don't want people to think that this is us saying we like Trubisky in this matchup. It's just, you're right. They're probably going to have to throw, and it's not going to be very efficient completions, and it's not going to be like a dink and dunk down the field type of offense with Mitch Trubisky, but the targets are going to have to go somewhere. I'm not in on Freiermuth. I personally am more aligned with Johnson over Pickens, but I get your logic.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's a dart throw.
Yeah,
either or, frankly. Yeah. So that's what I'm on tonight. If you're ready to move on to some other ones.
The only thing I'll say about the game tonight is if Najee is out, I'll probably I'll look to see if there's value on Warren. I'm not going to just lock it in blindly, because obviously needs to see if there's value, but that's the only thing that I'll say in terms of player props is if Najee's out, then we're going to look into Jaylen Warren. But anyways, yeah. So what do you got for this weekend?
Well, let me see. Let me fire up the Google machine here and see if there's any news on Najee, just in case. The latest reporting. Now, obviously, inactives aren't due out for another hour or so. The latest here from Tom Pelissero says he's expected to play. So
okay,
we'll see what happens.
Okay, then I might sit out. I'm not going to force it.
Yeah. Okay. You wanted to talk a little Bills and Chefs, I imagine?
Yeah. So the 2 games for Sunday, the 2 best games. Every week it's an Eagles game. It's not because we're Eagles fans. It's because they have the schedule of they're consistently playing really good teams. But first, I did want to talk about Chiefs Bills. I don't have any player props yet. I don't start looking until Friday. But if you got a player prop for this game or any other games on Sunday, by all means.
Yeah, Sackmaster checking in here. George Karlaftis over half a sack at +150. Guy is a really good player. I think people sleep on him. They look at Chris Jones. They say that's the dean of the Chiefs defensive line, and they would be correct. However, Karlaftis, first-round pick last year, has been really good. So yeah, that's plus 150. Big fan of that. I've also got here a total. Profit has this at over 43 at minus 120. Sport Trade has it at 43.5 minus 111, which is the better line. So
Okay.
I will say, if you're interested in the total, I think this has the possibility to go way over, despite the Chiefs' struggles offensively of late. Their defense did allow 27 points to the Packers last week. The Bills coming off a bye, obviously highly motivated every time they play the Chiefs, anytime they play ever. They're professional athletes. That's a dumb thing to say. But I do think this will go over 43. So grab 43 or 43.5. I think both are in play.
Yeah. So just more analysis. Who do you think wants it more, would you say, between these two teams?
It's a good question. I'm going to say the drunk guy jumping into a table prior to the game wants it more than anybody. That's who I think.
That is accurate. It is a home game for the Chiefs, so the Bills are. I mean, Bills fans are probably gonna make the trip out to Kansas City.
If you don't think there's going to be somebody outside of New Era Field drunk and jumping into a table when there's no game to be played there, you've never been to Buffalo.
I have been to Buffalo, but I was a kid, and it was just for the Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah, and I have my dad has a cousin in Buffalo. So shout out him. But yeah, this game thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. I have the Bills winning straight up. It was plus EV when I got it at plus 135. I'm not exactly sure what it is now. But I'm just not a believer in this Chiefs team. So actually, wow, it's plus 108 or plus 105 is the best price now. I probably wouldn't touch it there. So I guess this isn't super helpful for anybody watching it now. But earlier in the week, I did lock it in at plus 135. So I'll be quick. I'm just not a believer in the Chiefs. I mean, we've seen them. The Eagles had no business beating them, but they did because they forced the Chiefs to throw to anybody that wasn't Travis Kelce, and those guys aren't up for it. Justin Watson ran a wrong route. MVS dropped a wide open touchdown pass. Even though Rishi Rice, who I think is probably their best receiver, is getting more snaps, he's still not really getting a ton of targets. So it's not like they're really solving that issue. And like Josh Allen is very hit or miss, and that's kind of why I was out on the Bills this year. But when he's on, I think when he's on fire, like he's probably the best quarterback in terms of his ceiling. Like that game that he played against the Eagles is one of the best games I've seen a quarterback play. He was phenomenal in that game. The only reason he had one interception, which obviously is his biggest issue, and that's kind of why the Eagles won. But I think coming off a bye at 6-6, I'm expecting this to see good Josh Allen in this game again. And as good as the Chiefs defense is, as you mentioned, they just gave up 27 to the Packers. And like the Chiefs defense is good, but I do think that we're overrating them because we're so used to the Chiefs defense being bad. Like they're 9th in DVOA. They're more so points per game, but advanced stats aren't as highly, not saying they're bad, but not necessarily saying that they're the best defense in the NFL or top 5 or anything like that. So I think that the Bills are going to be able to move the ball. The Bills defense is banged up, and that's tough, which is why why the Bills have fallen so far this year. But like I said, it feels weird to say, but I just don't trust the Chiefs offense. And I think the Bills come into Kansas City and win. So again, I wouldn't touch it at the current price. I might wait a little bit to see if it swings. I guess you can get 2.5, like plus 2.5. I don't hate at Sport Trade. I think that's a pretty good price if you're getting 2 and 1.5 everywhere else. Obviously, you're still below that key number of a field goal, but at this point in time, that's the better value is the plus 2.5.
I think it's gotten to the point where they kind of just live and die with Josh Allen. I think there's been so much of a talent suck there that when he plays well, they win. When he tries to be Superman and does too much, they lose. And this sets up perfectly for him to try to do too much in Kansas City. Big rivalry. I don't disagree with you, but I'm also not betting this game. So there you go.
Fair. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, it's fair. Cool. All right. Well, moving on. Another Eagles game, Dallas. My official play, I like the over in this one. It's the highest total of the week, and it got bet up. I locked it in over 51.5. I think it's at 53 now. So 2 CLV W's there. My third one was a very big L CLV wise, but that's okay. I guess it's back down to 51.5. So it swung back down. The total did. But the total going over is pretty obvious. Like the Eagles gave up 34 to the Bills, 42 to the 49ers, 31 to the Commanders, only 23 to the Cowboys, but 3 stops at the goal line. Like they could have easily given up 30 something. So I like the over a lot. I also do, and this is an official play. I'm not betting this because there's really no value there, but I think the Eagles win and then obviously cover the spread. I think that it swung a little bit too far, and that like I think the public was like, Eagles are at home and they're underdogs to the 49ers. And then they got smashed. So everybody was like, well, yeah, see, they're bad. I told you they're bad. Like this is clear evidence that they're bad. Whereas me and you are kind of both in line that was going to happen. So shout out us for being right there. They haven't won in Dallas since 2017, but I think they win on Sunday. So official bet on the over. And then just to give a side, I think the Eagles win straight up. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on this one. And I think you are frozen. We lost Dan, or I'm frozen. Maybe it's me. Not sure, but unfortunately.
Yeah. How about now?
There he is.
See now?
Yeah, you're good. You're back. I can hear you.
Hey, we're back. Sorry about that. Okay.
All good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have them at plus 165 on the money line. That's at bet 365. The Eagles defense has played the most snaps in consecutive weeks in NFL history. Just an unbelievable stat. Again, as we said last week, that game against 49ers did not matter to them. If they go out and beat Dallas, then it's almost as if last week didn't even happen, because they would still have a game up in the conference with 4 games left. Eagles have a very weak last 4 weeks of the season, finally, right? Because they played an absolute gauntlet the last 6 weeks, and they would have basically a 3-game lead over Dallas in the division. So I'm not that worried about it. Again, I also think they win straight up. I'm not touching the total just on the off chance that something weird happens, because it just seems to happen in the NFL. There's no real analysis here. 2 offenses that just put up points. Something weird could happen, and they just don't. I mean, obviously, Dak is on the heater of a lifetime right now. That offense fired Kellen Moore for not being balanced enough. We talked about it last week. And now they're throwing the ball more than anybody else and putting up a ton of points. And Dak Prescott now is going to get a contract extension because of it. So maybe it was Kellen Moore, because the Chargers offense is terrible. Maybe it's not Brandon Staley. I'm sure Brandon Staley, in an effort to save his own job,
I was going to say he's
firing Kellen Moore pretty soon. So yeah, I like the Eagles straight up. Obviously, like them to cover as well, +3 or 3.5, depending on where you can find it. And I'm intrigued on the total. I'll probably track it till tomorrow, and then I'll try to figure something out.
Yeah, it's been interesting movement. Like I locked it in Monday morning at 51.5. I checked Monday night; it was at 53, and then I'm not sure what happened in between then, but now it's back down to 51.5 or 52 at some other places.
I wonder if RAS said it gone too far, and then everybody overreacted.
Yeah, probably. Right Angle Sports, is that what?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I guess we're pretty aligned on this show today. Not a lot of disagreement. Also not a great game tonight, and also a lot of buys. So not a great slate of Sunday games. It's really just the 2 games we talked about, I think, are the 2 best games of the week. Was there any other game that you wanted to talk about for Sunday?
The only thing I really wanted to talk about was last week, your boy,
Luda that's Bang right. Bang. I forgot about
Bang
that.
Bang and I had a push-up bet that I won. So I won, and the bet was 100 push-ups on the show.
Wait, hold on. Are you sure you won?
I don't remember. He DM'd me and said that he'll get those push-ups to me. So I actually thought about this over the course of the weekend, and I was like, wait, I can't remember what that bet was. But he DM'd me and said that he was going to get me the push-ups. So that tells me that I won.
I'm not going to, if Luda Bang Bang wants to do 100 push-ups, I'm not going to stop him. I'm pretty sure you lost the bet, because the bet was,
I couldn't remember what it was.
He thought the Texans would cover 3.5.
Okay.
You thought
and
the Broncos
were intercepted at the last play. Sure.
So they lost by 5. So technically he won the bet. I actually meant to bring that up. I forgot. I was hoping that Luda Bang Bang would be in the comments. Maybe he's busy doing his 100 push-ups, and that's why he's not currently in the chat. Maybe
it's taking him 25 minutes, but we're at 24:40 right now. Maybe he's about to join in 20 seconds. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, he wove the white flag. He got into my DMs and he started waving the white flag. So to me, he's France, and I'm a much better country, I suppose. So I'm going to take the W on that one. Thank you, Luda Bang Bang.
Yeah, even though you lost, but you can take the W anyways. That's
history's written by the winners, my friend. And he conceded, therefore.
That's true. Maybe he conceded when he thought that the Broncos were going to come down and score. I was like, okay.
Maybe he thought we actually had switched whichever sides we were on. No, he DM'd me Monday.
Oh, so okay.
So it was
Very much after the fact.
After the fact. So that's why I was confused. I was like, I can't remember what the bet was on, but I assume he's a man of his word and I won. Clearly I'm not. So I don't know.
Or yeah, I don't know. He has not mentioned anything to me. He's also not in the chat to defend himself. So I think the 100 push-up bet will have to wait another week.
Yeah, sounds right.
Sounds right. Cool. All right. Well, appreciate everybody for joining us. Dan, appreciate you for joining me as well. Everybody go check out, I put it in the chat, Dan's KoobTube Unrefined. So is it the KoobTube going to be at this point in time strictly bourbon reviews? Or is it going to be
bourbon and betting? Wherever I get another job, that's where the content is going to live. So
bourbon and
KoobTube, bourbon and betting. Finally, a place for bourbon and betting in one place. It's what everyone's been asking for, and I decided to give it to them. So we'll do some bourbon, we'll do some betting, we'll do some other stuff as well. One of the fun things about the show is every 5th show we're going to do a blind taste test with the previous 4 bourbons. So we'll try to actually put our newly found tasting skills to the test. So it'll be a fun time.
There we go. Yeah. If you ever start doing chocolate milk blind taste tests, let me know.
Sure.
And I will tell the people, if you just search Dan Koob on YouTube, you'll find some very fun old Dan clips from when he was in the news that I was not expecting, which makes sense now that I think about it. I was just expecting your YouTube channel to come up. There's a lot of young Dan back in his Green Bay days, got some compliment on his legs. I feel like that's probably if anybody was going to compliment you on anything, I'm guessing that would be the number one thing you would ask for.
So Larry McCarron is the gentleman who did that. Larry McCarron is in the Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame. He was a center for the Packers in the 80s and late 70s, early 80s.
So he knows legs.
Some of the greatest stories ever told, like taking horse tranquilizer with everyone on the offensive line, playing with a hernia, playing the day of being diagnosed with carbon monoxide poisoning, allegedly. This is NFL lineman in the 80s, man. Just an absolute legend, Larry McCarron. I love that dude. To the day we're both gone. But yeah, he knew how to butter my bread, and it was compliment my legs.
Yeah. So, there you go. So yeah, if anybody wants to watch that, you can. But cool. All right. Well, hopefully I haven't checked next Thursday. Hopefully it's a better game than we have tonight. It's hard to be worse. So I'm guessing it will. But we will catch you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Matt.